have a foam roller at home and you're wondering what to do with it, join me for this 30-minute foam roll and release class. We're going to combine elements of yoga with some traditional self-myofascial release, and you're going to feel better when we're done. Let's do it. Let's start with the back of your body here. So go ahead and bring your foam roller down onto the floor. Bring yourself down to the floor. So we're going to start with the calves and work our way up the body. Go ahead and let's do one calf at a time. So let's go left foot on the floor, right leg out long, rolling out that calf. You're going to push your hands into the floor, brace your core, and lift your hips ever so slightly so that you can roll forward and back nice and slow across the belly of your calf or your gastrocnemius. If that feels good, if that feels easy, let's add some pressure across the right or left leg over the right. I'm trying to mirror you here. And then we'll just add a little bit of pressure. Slow roll. Now here's the thing about foam rolling. It's so beneficial. Self-myofascial release. But it's hard. It takes time, first of all. It takes a little core strength. And a lot of times you find spots that hurt. And then that makes people not want to do it because there's some pain involved. But this is the good kind of pain. Usually you find a knot, you hold. About 30 seconds. So I just found a knot. You're going to hold it, push into it. Good thing to do when you're watching TV. Good. Now we're going to roll the outside of that calf. Oh my goodness. And I forgot to start my timer. Go ahead and keep going, rolling the outside of your calf. Uncross the leg, and you're going to turn your toes out and let the inside of your foot shine up. I'm going to turn on the timer here so that I can actually know how long this class is going to be. And then roll the outer edge of your calf. And now I have knots, so I'm not going to add, but you could always add a little more by putting that foot back on top. Put a little weight. Using the hands behind you for support. And let's slowly release the hips. Switch sides. So first start with one leg, because you might find out that you have a calf that has a lot of knots and the other one didn't. So you can use this foot that's on the floor to lift you up and roll yourself forward and back. You want to go nice and slow, probably the rate of about an inch per second. And then if you find, oh, that's pretty easy, I don't feel any pain. Not that you're looking for pain, but if you find a spot, trust me, you want to work that out. Cross the other ankle over. And then going right down into like the Achilles, the area of the soleus, right above your heel. And then roll back up. Just notice what you find. Notice if it's different on one side. And I'm having to use my hands, like scoot myself forward and back. We're not going to go behind the knee, just right up to that point. And then we'll take it off, turn it out for the outside of the calf there. So getting the outer edge. And maybe one side is a little bit better than the other. Just take note, get curious. You could always cross. Keep rolling here. We're going to work our way up. You got a bonus minute or two in there before I start the timer. Good. Okay, let's go ahead and skip the knee joints and bring it into the hamstrings. So we're just going to roll the backs of the hamstrings, and usually this is a pretty comfortable muscle group to roll. So I would encourage you to do a little crossover so that all your weight is on one hamstring for a moment and just roll nice and slow. Check it for any knots. And then we'll switch it, other side. Now I've had this roller for a long time. So it's got some dents in it because I've used it a lot and I've kind of compressed the foam. It's time for a new roller, I know. And no, I'm not selling them. I'm not monetized, so you're just foam rolling with me. Thank you. I needed this anyway. Slow roll. Beautiful. We'll release the hips back down. Let's turn and do the outsides of the thighs before we move on. So you're going to turn onto one side here and then bend your back knee, sole of the back foot to the floor so that you have a little bit of control as you use your hands and your core to roll the outside edge of your thigh, bottom thigh here. So you get a little bit of core work here. This is a great thing to do before your workout because it's going to help you move better. However, a little gentle warm-up is encouraged just as you are going to be using your core. You don't want to hurt your shoulder or anything. So you're going to be using body muscles here just to roll the muscle. Nice and slow, controlled. Just right above the knee to right below the hip. And then when you're ready, you go ahead and sit your hips down, flip it the other way. I'll turn and face you, but you can just turn and face away. Let's do the other side. So back leg, sole of the foot to the floor. And the bottom leg is the leg you're going to be rolling here. Just from right above the knee, right up below the hip. Feel free to move that roller, adjust it to the place that you need it. And usually these are the sides of the muscle that you're going to find knots for a lot of people. Feel free to hold. So if you found a spot that you're like, ooh, yes, that hurts, go ahead and hold that there and stop rolling for a moment. Yeah, I needed this one. My right leg, so it might be your left if you're mirroring me. This one is tight. Good. All right, so since we are on our sides, before we work our way up the rest of the body, let's go ahead and face the floor and do the quads here. So right above the kneecap, you're gonna come forward like you're coming into a plank. Lower those elbows underneath your shoulders, and then just start to tiptoe and inch your way forward, and then tiptoe, inch your way back. Slow, slow, rolling the tops of the thighs. Nice and slow. You're gonna use your core. Now, of course, if you're like, oh, this is pretty easy, my quads are happy, I don't have any knots, then you can make this more challenging by scooting the foam roller off to one side so that more weight is on one leg. Just do the one side. Nice and slow. Really important work right here. I'm gonna do the other leg by itself. If you're doing both, go ahead and keep rolling that nice slow rate. If you find a spot that is painful, you're gonna stop and hold and breathe. Now, if anything starts to go numb or tingle, you'll stop and you'll get off of it, right? The kind of pain I'm talking about is like a little bit of a sharp pain, but it feels like you're getting a deep tissue massage, and then you just breathe through it and it releases with your breath. Excellent. So you should feel much better after we do this. This is the hard part right now. Go ahead and even yourself out if you haven't already. And we'll head to our back. So taking that foam roller, I'm going to turn and face you guys. Taking that foam roller below your back, but not in your lower back. Let's go up to the ribs. And then walk your hips back so that you're on the supported part of the ribs, not the floating ribs. You can have your hands behind your head. Knees are bent. Feet are going to just walk forward and drag your hips forward as you roll up the spine. This should feel great. And then press through your heels, nice and slow. Roll back to the ribs. Not quite the floating ribs, the supported ribs. You don't really ever want to foam roll your lower back, even though I know it's really tempting because I know it feels good. But that is a spot in your spine that has not a lot of structural support. To be putting all your weight on top of a narrow foam. So I don't recommend. Nice and slow, nice massage here for the area between the shoulder blades. Think like the traps, the rhomboids, using your feet to push you forward and back, and really you're using your glutes and your hamstrings to hover those hips. Excellent. Let's go ahead and roll forward so that the foam roller is under the base of your skull, and lower your head to rest on the foam roller. Let your hips rest, let your back rest. We're going to rock the head side to side. Like you're shaking your head, no. And my headphones are kind of doing a weird thing right now, my mic headphones. So go ahead and rest your skull fully, the base of the skull on the foam roll. And just massage the back of your neck there. Turn it from right to left. Slow, easy, one more. Beautiful. Press through the elbows. Come on up. We're going to turn and face, getting into the lats. So your arm is going to reach, bottom arm is going to reach over the foam roll. Knees are bent. And it's just like a sideline clamshell position almost. You're going to just put a little bit of weight into your rib and roll into the armpit. And this, you get creative with it, right? You're gonna need to maybe adjust the positioning here. We're trying to aim for your lat, your latissimus dorsi. Some of you might enjoy a slight angle upward, so turning the face up towards the sky, and then maybe you move forward and back, slow. Make sure you have control of it, never farther down than that supported rib. And maybe you turn and face. I don't know. Feel what feels good for you. If that gets into your pec a little more. Oof. Yeah, if there's a knot, if you find a spot where it's like, ow, hold. Breathe and hold. We're all doing this at our own pace here. Slowly, when you're ready, coming off of the foam roller, switching sides, you can just roll over and face the other way. I'm going to turn because I'm filming. Other side. So bottom arm supporting, knees are bent, hips are stacked above the floating rib, and then you put weight into the foam roll, and maybe you consider rolling open to the sky. Maybe you turn down and then start a gentle roll. So we're just rolling up. And getting that lats rolling down. If you have any trouble bringing arms straight above the head, it could be that your lats are very tight. They could be restricted. This might really help you. And maybe consider turning down, so getting a little more into the pec. And that's where I find a little bite right there. Right where the edge of my shoulder blade is. Scoot those hips forward and back. Hold if you find a spot that hurts. Breathe into it. Yeah. All right, when you're ready to come off of that foam roller, you're going to press it up. Take the foam roller off to the side, and we're going to hold a few short, effective stretches. So hands under the shoulders and knees under the hips. Round it up like a cat. Soften your chin down. Tuck your tailbone under. Shoulder blades apart. You should feel familiar. And then melt the belly down. Lift up the heart. Lift the tail. Let's do a couple rolls here through your back. So you rolled up and down that spine, and then the sides. And just get some movement here. One more. Notice your tailbone and your head move together. Beautiful. Let's step back leg or the left leg forward. And you're going to stack the knee over the ankle. Fingertips on either side of the foot. That back knee to the floor. If you need to pad it up a little bit, add a little extra mat. Lift up the heart. Nice low lunge stretch. Start to scissor your legs and see if you can rise on up to your thigh. Open up that hip without sinking down. So try to lengthen up. Feels like you're going to try to drag that left heel back into you. Good. Final progression, stretch those arms to the sky. We're going to test out that lat flexibility. We just rolled the lats and then reach them up. Feels good. Nice. Slowly release. Hands on either side of your front foot, and then shift your weight back. Take your front toe up. Soft front knee, never locked. Half splits here. Let's take a little stretch in your hamstring. Try to fold your heart forward. This routine is designed that you could do it by itself. Maybe on a day that you're sore, you need rest. But also, you could do it after the workout. If you have time and you want to work on your mobility, what a great time. You're all warm. Go ahead, jump right in. Slowly roll the sole of the foot back down. And then we're going to take that left foot, shimmy it towards the right. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. And allow your left knee to melt to the floor at a 45-degree angle. Framing the hands, lift up the back leg and just kind of lengthen it towards the back of the room. Open up your heart. This is half pigeon pose from yoga. You could be up on blocks. You could have a towel, a mat, roll it up and sit on it with this back hip here. And that'll help support. This is a nice outer hip stretch. Breathe into it. Never force it. Let's take a nice full bow into the front leg. Any amount. It doesn't have to be a lot. Some of you might be able to put your forehead on the floor. You could always put something, stack it underneath your forehead. Rest there. Get your breath. It's a really calming thing to do, and all the time in yoga we will focus on the breath because it's so good for your mind to focus on the breath. It's an active form of meditation. Go ahead and press your hands on into the floor. As you come on up, you'll slide that leg back to meet the other. Wiggle the hips, wag your tail. Let's go side two. Step your right foot forward. Aim right between the hands. Feet over ankle. Pad up your back knee if you need it. Start to lighten on your hands. Lift the heart a little bit. Nice low lunge stretch. Broaden the collarbones and maybe start to climb on up to your thigh. Hold that kneeling hip flexor stretch. Try not to dump too much into the lower back. Lifting up. Final progression. Steady yourself. Pick a spot on the floor and stare at it as you reach your arms up. I'm going to call upon your balance a little bit here. Biceps close to your ears. Excellent. We're going to counter this stretch here on the exhale. Fold, frame your front foot. Take the weight back. Try to square the hips and peel the toes up. Soften this knee. Never want to lock it. Honor and bow. Hamstring stretch. Clearly I have really tight hamstrings and my knee is pretty bent, and that's okay. I'm just where I am right now. Not forcing it. Roll back sole of the foot to the ground, and let's shimmy it to the opposite direction. So it's just sort of heel toe, that foot over to the opposite side, and allow your right knee to bend at a 45-degree angle. Maybe lengthen your back leg a little more, like someone just gently pulled it straight. Top of the foot to the floor. Here's where you can grab some kind of prop, sit on it, and it could give you a little bit of support, especially if your hips are very tight. If you're ready, let's start a little bow here. Walk the hands forward, maybe elbows. Now, of course, there are lots of ways to foam roll your body, and I think most important is that you just do something, right? Especially you try to beat injury, right? So not just foam rolling because you're injured, but foam rolling to prevent an injury. A lot of times it goes the other way around. Especially with fitness enthusiasts and athletes, we tend to do the self-care when we really are forced to do it. And it's important to do it before that point. So if you're here and it's not because you're achy, congratulations, taking care of your health and the things that need care before you get injured. Start to walk your hands back up underneath the shoulders. Push through the hands and slide that knee back. Shake the hips out here, a little wiggle side to side. Tuck your toes under. We're going to load up the legs. Pick up the hips, tailbone to the sky. Let your head dive between your biceps. Downward facing dog. You're going to really reach your hips back. Bend those knees generously. You're upside down. Enjoy. Heels are heavy. Hamstring stretch. Good. So we're going to take that hip flexor stretch a step further. Big toes close. Let's reach the left leg up for the sky. Push a little harder into your left hand. Three-legged dog here. Draw the knee forward and step between your hands. Leave your back knee up. If you need to drag it, you can drag it. You want knee over ankle. Engage your thighs. Push the legs down. Rise up. Crescent lunge. You want to get a little more out of this. Squeeze the butt cheek on the right side. It's going to press your hip forward and give you a little more stretch. Deep breath here. Engage that front thigh. You're going to take a little twist. Hands to your heart center. Lengthen forward through the crown of the head. So you're going to make like a diagonal line for your spine. Hooking the opposite tricep around into a twist. So hook that right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Push your palms together. Open up. Option to take your back knee down if you need it. Make a twist through the spine. All right, both legs nice and long. Push down through. Reach back up. Palms together at the top. Excellent. Go ahead and step your back foot in about a footprint. Turn it out 45. Start to straighten your front leg. Not all the way straight. Reach your arms behind your back and give yourself a fist bump behind your lower back. Puff out your chest. Soften the knees. Straight spine. Really strong core. Hinge forward. We're going to hold for a breath. Pyramid pose. And then if it's in your flexibility, you can release your hands to your shin, your thigh, blocks, your foot, maybe the floor. Try to square those hips though so that you're getting a nice hamstring stretch. Deep breath here. Beautiful. Start to bend your front knee, pick up your back heel, and step yourself back to downward facing dog. Head dives between the biceps, heels are heavy. So we're focusing on a lot of hips here. Big toes close. Let's go left leg for the sky. Sorry, right leg for the sky. Side two. Whatever your side two is. And then exhale, knee to nose. Step that foot as far forward as you can. Come into your crescent lunge shape. Knee over ankle. Back leg straight and strong. Push down. Rise up. Arms overhead. Slow and controlled. Relax the face, relax the neck. A lot of times in the gym, it's all about moving fast and burning calories. Not right now. Right now, working on some stability. Long, strong spine, hands to your heart center. Tip forward so you're like an airplane about ready to shoot off. Hook the opposite elbow. Cross. Nice little twist here. Hands to the heart. Push your heart towards the center. Nice twist. If you need to bend that back knee, you can put it down anytime. Make this twist happen from the middle of your back, not your hips. Good. Both legs strong and alive as you push down through. Come back up. Hands to heart center. Step your back foot in about a footprint. Turn it out. 45. Square your chest, square your hips. Fist bump behind the low back. Soft but almost straight front knee. We're going to bow. Puff the chest. Fold slow. Pyramid pose. Good. Slow release. Either reaching for your shin, your foot, or the floor. Square those hips. Relaxing your face. Element of surrender here. It's okay if your front knee isn't even close to straight. Wherever you are is fine. Just feeling that sensation in the back of the hamstring. Bending your front knee, pick up your back heel, plant your hands, step yourself back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in here. Bend both knees. Take a child's pose, hips towards your heels, forehead towards the floor. Crawl your fingertips forward. Relax the face. Relax that lower back. Good. Tiptoe hands over to one side, whichever side you want. Press your hips the opposite direction. Really open up the waist, open up the side. And then we'll walk them on over. Side two. Tiptoe, tiptoe. Side stretch. Now, I designed this workout to be a little bit less like a yoga flow and a little bit more just holding some stretches. Come back through the center, and this is for you people who maybe don't like a yoga flow. Kick your heels out to one side and have a seat on your glutes. Send your right leg out and keep your left knee bent. Sole of the left foot in towards your inner thigh. Sit up nice and tall. Reach those arms overhead. Nice tall back, and then we fold. Taking another hamstring stretch, but in a different way. You could frame your knee, you could frame your shin. Find your foot. Bow here. Excellent. On the way back up, we'll plant the hands, walk yourself in, keeping a gentle micro bend on that knee. Let's go ahead and lift up the other knee and step it across. So preparing for a twist. Really root your hips first, pull your heart forward. Opposite arm is going to hook that elbow and then swim your left arm back, fingertips to the floor behind you. Look over your back shoulder. Sitting up nice and tall. And this might be a lot. If it is, just hugging that knee and sitting up tall might be plenty of stretch. That's okay. Be where you are today. Slow release. Send that leg out. Let's switch sides. Sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Reach both arms up. Deep breath. And then we fold. Exhale, release. Just notice which one of your sides is tighter. I definitely have a dominant side and a flexible side and a not so flexible side. And just get curious which one is your tight side. And if they're the same, awesome, good for you. Way to be symmetrical. symmetrical. Come back up with the in breath. We're going to take that right knee, set the sole of the foot to the floor, pick it up, and cross it over. Sitting up tall and just a hug. See how that feels. That feels like a lot. Stay here. If you're ready for the twist, let's add. Swim your right arm up, over fingertips to the floor. Look over that back shoulder. Going for length. So you're not just cranking yourself over, right? Excellent. Slow release. Go ahead and uncross your legs. Scoot yourself forward on that mat. We're going to roll forward and back a few times, just massaging your back. So catch your shins or your hamstrings and then rock and roll a few times, massaging from tailbone to the base of your skull. Stay down on this one and then rock it out right to left. Just switch the direction of the rock. Good. Keeping your left knee, send your right leg out straight, lower it to the floor. Heel will find the ground. Circle the ankle of the foot you're holding. Excellent. Let's twist. Drop it again. So we're twisting, but now lying on our back. Dropping the left knee towards the right. Open that left arm to the side like a T. Feel the heaviness, the shoulder, and the knee. Good. Roll back through this center and we will switch sides. So take the other knee to your chest. Scoot your hips back to the middle and reach the other leg long. Flex the foot lower to the floor. You're now hugging that right shin in. Roll the ankle around. Let's prepare for that twist. Side two. Gently draw the knee to the floor on the opposite side of the mat. Open the arm out to the side. Just let gravity weigh the knee and the shoulder down away from each other. It's a really beneficial stretch for your back. Excellent. We're going to roll back through center. Setting your feet down a comfortable distance. Knees are bent. Kick that left leg to the sky. Cross it. Flex foot over the other thigh. You could push your thigh bone open or reach through the window of your legs. Flexing your feet, holding this figure four on the back. If your tailbone is curled up or your head has to curl up, perhaps you're going to choose a different version of the stretch. Maybe you'll just push your knee open, push your thigh bone open. Don't push the knee joints. Or maybe you have a strap and you can hook and make your arms just a little bit longer and hook that bottom leg. Good. From here, we'll add a little hamstring. The bottom leg, we're going to kick it to the sky a few times. Just working our way towards a straighter leg. It's okay if it doesn't go all the way straight. We'll stay at the top of your end range of motion on this one. Hold and breathe. Good. Slow release. Setting that foot back down. Uncross that ankle. You can shake out the feet. Switch sides. Right leg to the sky. Flex the foot over the left thigh bone. Either pushing your thigh bone open into a four shape, reaching through, hooking your hamstring. But if that compromises your spinal position, maybe use a strap. Make your arms a little longer. You should be feeling this in the outer hip, but maybe a nice release in your back as well. As we age, we lose elasticity, unfortunately. So this is really important to help with your aging process. Kick that leg up to the sky, a few kicks. And you might say, oh, I'm not old, right? But trust me, we all are aging. So even if you're in your 20s or 30s, hold it there. Hold that hamstring stretch. You are in the aging process, I promise you. So take this time to take care of your body and love it. And I know people who exercise their whole life in their 60s, in their 70s, and they look awesome for their age. Exercise really does help. Slowly release it, uncross that leg, and we'll just take a little shake here. Bring yourself. We have one more stretch and then you're done. Half happy baby. Let's go back to your left side. Footprint on the ceiling. Catch the outside of the ankle, the outside of the shin, or maybe just the bottom of the calf. Wherever you can reach, start to pull your knee towards the outside of your ribs. And
your armpit. And then if that feels good, if that feels easy, slide the bottom leg out straight. Should feel like you're doing a lunge on the ceiling. If it feels like a lot, keep a bend in your bottom knee or catch a little lower on that left leg. Really big hip opener. We spent a lot of time with the hips today. The lumbopelvic complex is an area that gives a lot of people problems. We didn't do much upper body flexibility today. However, you got a little bit with the lats. Slowly release what you're holding. You'll set your left foot down, knee bent, and then take your right foot to the sky. Either catching the outside of the shin, ankle, calf, or maybe the foot. Draw that knee towards your armpit like you're lunging on the sky. A little bit of leverage here with your right hand, and then perhaps slide your bottom leg. If it's available, let it be long and keep that hip pressing. The exercise, it really is truly one of the best things we can do for ourselves to help us age successfully and gracefully. Even if you're not thinking about that right now, just make a habit of it. You will not regret it. 20 years down the road, you can be glad that you stretched. Slowly release that foot towards the floor. Set both feet down, knees drop one direction, and then push yourself up into a comfortable seat. Whatever that looks like for you, sit up nice and tall. Thank you so much for foam rolling with me, for stretching with me. If you like this version of mobility better than yoga, please leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, all the things. Tell me what you want to see more of. Thank you so much for being with me today. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you later.